This is a picture I took on Woodward Avenue in Detroit around 1980 when I went back. I was born and raised in Detroit. Spent a few years of my adult life there, but that was it, then left. I was just reading an article about Detroit's population in 1950 was almost 2 million people. Today, it's a little over 500,000 people. 1.5 million people left Detroit. When I was growing up there as a kid, there were so many people. You would go into the downtown area of Detroit, and you would think you were in Manhattan of New York City. The throngs of people on the street. Now I guess the streets there are just kind of empty. And compared to South Florida, where I live now, here's a picture I took of Miami Beach from the cruise ship heading down to the Bahamas just this year. My neighborhood was built around 1958. If you lived here in 1958 and left and came back now, you would see the same houses, the same streets, not the same stores on the highway, the roads, but just going down the residential streets. And then you'd see some new construction. But you'd come back to a neighborhood that you knew. I went back to Detroit in 1980. I couldn't recognize it. I couldn't recognize the street I grew up on. It had changed, and for the worse. I live in South Florida, and South Florida just doesn't die. We got Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Palm Beach, on the West Coast, Naples, Fort Myers. Further south, you've got the Keys. It doesn't die out. It just keeps going, surviving, and thriving, unlike a lot of other parts of America. And we really don't have any industry down here except sunshine. And I would say the biggest industry we have is the cruise line industry. But if you want to move to an area that your children can grow up in and come back later as adults and recognize everything, then move to South Florida.